Today we're reviewing this XTR M960 derailleur. Make sure I have the right one. It'll just spring out all the way to the top, and on the back it'll say M960. Some tools you're going to need are some Allen keys, a pick, a screwdriver, and some pliers. So this derailleur actually doesn't have a barrel adjuster. The adjuster is on the shifter, which is pretty cool. It saves weight and makes it less complicated. When you take off the guide pulley bolt, check if there's a clip there and take it off. Look at that, look how well preserved this. It's not, never mind. Still has a bunch of scratches. Alright, so now taking off the B spring, we actually have an old design. They discontinued this design in the 90s, but they have this here. This design reduces weight, but it's a little bit harder to service, which is why it's on an XTR derailleur. So you pull the cage back a little bit, grab your screwdriver, and unscrew this little pin. It's going to spring out and unscrew this bolt right here. Pull out the seal and the spring. Now for the P spring, you want to rotate the clip so it goes out in between these two little plates, and grab your pick and just pull it out. This should pop out. You might need to pull it, but it should pop out like this. Then comes the seal. Push out the bolt and grab the spring. And there's also another seal on this side. Make sure to grab that too. Alright, now the derailleur is completely taken apart and it's time to do some cleaning. But before that, I just want to acknowledge how good of a derailleur this is. Even though it's rapid rise, if you look past that, there's so much technology and innovation went into this derailleur. They have a rubber protector for the B knuckle. This cage even has little holes in it they drilled out to save weight. All the limit screws are all aluminum. They do strip really easily, so I would get a titanium kit, but they're super light. That's also to save weight. The guide pulley, they managed to make it sealed bearing, as well as they went to the old method of having a little pin, which saved a lot of weight, and this design improved on that tremendously as well. So they combined two new and old ideas, as well as having this little plastic thing here. Instead of damaging the cage, it rubs on this and protects the actual metal. I know 2000s derailleurs get a lot of hate for being not as reliable. They bend a lot, they break easier, because in the 2000s everyone was focused on saving weight, and they were also ugly. But this one, I feel like it's well made. It looks really good in my opinion. And if you look past that it's rapid rise, this is overall a really good derailleur. Alright, so now it's time for cleaning. I like to use some cleaner or degreaser. And if you're using something harsh like brake cleaner, remember, stay away from the plastic. And if you have any rusty parts, you can use some. If you have any rusty parts, you can soak them in some vinegar or some other kind of solution. So the reason I wouldn't put the other cage in is because this little pivot right here spins, and it's going to be really hard to regrease that once you put it in the cleaner. So yeah, if you do put it in, make sure to put some oil on it after you do. But I think this is clean enough. I'll just clean it off with some degreaser. Pulleys, I'll show you how to service those in just a second. Don't put them on the ultrasonic cleaner because it's going to get all the grease out. The guide pulley is different from the tension pulley, even though this tension pulley is a SRAM one. Someone genius decided to replace it with this one. So I'll put a clip from an older video. And in my case, I'm using this ultrasonic cleaner, and all I'm using is water and dish soap. Alright, so now servicing the guide pulley. First, what you want to do is you want to just pull off two little washers, seals, whatever they call them. Now you want to look at your bearing. Feel it, make sure it spins nice and smooth. If it does not spin smooth, you can push it out like this, and in there you will see the bearings, and you can inject some grease into there, do whatever you want. Pretty much you can clean out the bearings and clean off this little seal here. After that, just put it on. Also make sure to clean the outside and clean the seals themselves. So yeah, if your pulley spins nice and smooth, you don't need to worry about it. Just clean the outside and the seals. Now time to service the pulleys. This is the tension pulley. First, start off with just cleaning off the dirt on the outside. Alright, now it's nice and cleaned off, and now we have to pop off the seal. For the metal seal, just grab your pick and pull it off. The other side just slides out. Now you want to scrape away some of the dirt on the outside and on the inside, and then I'll show you how to pop it off. Alright, now it's cleaned out a bit better. And grab your pick. You want to go from the inside, pop it up, and then from the outside go with your pick and it pops off just like that. Alright, now here we see our bearings. You want to check if there's dirt in there. There's a little bit. So what you can do, get some degreaser, spray it in there, and then repack it with some new grease. And if you want to replace the seal itself, the bearing number is 60601. That's what it says on the seal. So yeah, I'll have a link to that in the description if I can find one. Alright, now we repacked it with some fresh grease. Then you want to clean off your seal. Make sure to clean off the inside and then pop it back on. Alright, and for the seal, you're gonna feel a little click when you put it in. You gotta just use your thumb and you'll feel it just kind of pop or nudge in. You can also use 2 fingers. That helps. Just like that. Alright, and the main thing you want to see these 2 silver rings. Make sure nothing is sticking out and it's all in place. And now when you're finished with the seals, just grab your metal washers and slide them on. And then the other side, just pop it on. You feel that little click. Alright, so now this derailleur is all cleaned down, and now it's time to assemble. Also, I got another sealed bearing pulley, stole it off another derailleur. And another thing you're going to need for the assembly is grease. Alright, so first up, you want to grease up your pinnacle. Make sure you get all the sides nice and greased up. Now grab your spring. One side is going to be recessed in a little bit, and one side is going to be flush. You want to get the flush side and slide it in the hole. Rotate it around and hear that pop, and then it goes in. Alright, now you want to grab your rubber O-ring and slide it on. And then you want to grab your bolt and rotate it in, making sure the grease applies evenly. Just like that. So you're going to have 2 seals. You have a wider one and a thinner one. You want to get the wider one and slide it on. Alright, now grab your metal retaining ring. And the goal here is to get this tab all the way around and down behind here. So I like to take the bolt out and then grab a pair of pliers. You're going to rotate it at a 45-degree angle, like this with the pliers, then push down, hold it, push the bolt through, and then put your clip in right there. Alright, so now you want to do the same thing to the binnacle. I'm going to grease it up. It's this big here, so it's pretty easy. Now, grab your spring. As you can see, both sides are not recessed, but you want to get the long end and put it in that little hole. Rotate it until it kind of clicks. Like that. Now you want to grab your seal, the other one, and slide it on. Alright, so now you want to grab your cage and you want to grease up this shaft and make sure this whole assembly here moves nice and smooth. Alright, so now for the holes, you have this one here on the left, which is the tighter one, and one on the right, which is the looser one. Alright, so now we're going to marry these 2 together, and we're going to go with the tighter one because after all this is a race derailleur. Alright, now when you've screwed in this bolt, just screw it in until it stops. You want to grab your cage and rotate it counterclockwise, and then screw in the pin right in there. Alright, so now for the guide pulley, you want the lettering facing up and these little holes facing down. You can grease it up as well if you want, but remember it is a sealed bearing pulley, so the grease is already in there. You grab your bolt and screw it on. Also, if you have one, don't forget the little clip on the guide pulley. Make sure to tighten it down. Same thing for the tension pulley, just tighten it down. And then put on your clamp bolt and the rubber protector if you have one. And once you've done that, you have yourself a fully rebuilt derailleur. The M960 is overall a really great derailleur. It's strong, it looks really good, I really like the dark chrome finish. The body itself is pretty reliable, it doesn't have any cutouts like a modern derailleur, and I'd say it'll last you a long time. The cages are pretty thin, but they make up for that for being insanely light. The long cage version, which is this version, weighs only 205 grams, which is wild. And yeah, if you are a fan of rapid rise, this is a great derailleur. It won't let you down. So remember guys, if you have an old derailleur, don't replace it, just rebuild it. Thanks to anyone who subbed, and I'll see you in the next one.